children of Israel. Remember, God told Abraham, I'm going to give you a seed that will be like the sands of the sea and like the stars in heaven. And for years and years and years and years and years, decades later, you get down to Jacob and his 12 sons. They go to Egypt, and what do they have? 70 souls. But then they get put into slavery. Then they get persecuted. Then they get put into bondage. And then you've got millions. They're multiplying. And there's a principle in the Bible that whenever persecution comes, whenever affliction comes, whenever the pressure. See, the problem with the church in Jerusalem, I believe, is the same problem with Christians today. We're a little too comfortable. Attendances are high. Offerings are good. I've got a good job. I get 2 weeks of vacation. I get to go soul winning. Sometimes if it's nice weather, I'm like, is it ever not nice weather? In Arizona. I mean, good night. I know Phoenix it's hot, but Prescott, it's nice up here. And if it's nice weather, I'll do it. But here's the problem: we get lazy, and we don't. And here's the problem: the vast majority of believers are not preaching the gospel. The vast majority of preachers, believers are not going soul winning. So God says, you know what? Right before the end comes, right before I wrap this whole thing up, right before I have the curtain call and I finish all this up, I want to have just one last soul winning blitz. I want to have just one. Pastor Anderson has these soul winning marathons. You know what I mean? Soul winning marathon in Portland, Oregon. Soul winning marathon in Washington, D.C. Soul winning marathon in Dearborn, Michigan. And those are great. Praise the Lord for it. You ought to try to go if you can go. But this is God's soul winning marathon for the entire world. He says, I'm going to send a persecution that's going to make my people get on the move.